Hi, this is Sonia. I am back from Vegas, and before I put my planner back together, I wanted to film a quick video about how I used my A5 Magenta Flex at a conference for the past week. It worked out so well that this is for sure how I will be using, or what I will be taking to conferences from now on. It worked out so perfect. So I wanted to show how I used it, and I know it's probably pretty tailored, but I figured, other people could maybe take it and change it up. So this is how I pretty much carried it the whole time. I had a ballpoint pen here, just a thin one for taking notes. And basically what I did was, I took them out already, but any coupons that I accumulated, from people passing the stuff out or from all the guidebooks along the way, I'd keep in here. And then, as I would go to different hotels, I'd say, okay, I have a Planet Hollywood coupon or whatever. I never actually ended up using any of them just because you'd have to, I think for most of them you had to have 2 people to eat dinner to get the price off the dinner, and I was just one person. So I never ended up using them, but I kept them in there. And this worked out really well. I didn't end up putting any business cards in there, but what I did do is, along the way, as I picked up business cards and receipts, since I had the Filofax in my bag like this, standing up, it was just easy to reach in and throw the receipts in the front pocket. So business card, receipts, everything like that would go in the front pocket, and then at the end of the day, I'd just take it out and put it in a little zip bag that I was keeping things in. But that worked out really well. I also kept not only business cards of people at the conference, but wherever I went to eat for my scrapbooks. So that's what I kept in this front pocket. And then, as my guidebook worked out really well. If you're going to Vegas, I would highly suggest this guidebook. I really liked it because instead of kind of grouping everything together by restaurants or shows, it's grouped together by hotel. So, excuse me. So for each hotel, it has a floor plan and some of the highlights, and then it goes into the restaurant sites and bars for each hotel. So as I was walking and would go into a hotel, I would just pull it out and see, what I had wanted to go and see at that hotel. So anyway, this was a really good guidebook. And it also fit inside my Flex, so that worked out perfectly. And so continuing my tradition of using Moleskines in my Flex, which I really liked, I took along several of these address books that you get in the back of Moleskines, and that worked out perfect for the conference, and I think I will try to do something like that, depending on how many, address books I have yet. But, they're just a couple pages, and they're real thin and bound, so you could really do it with any kind of paper, but it was the perfect size to fit in the Flex, and then also just to kind of have it around without having a big bulky notebook. And the way that I used them really worked out for me. So one of them I used for taking notes in the conference, and because they folded around, I would just sit in the conference like this and take my notes. And the Flex ended up being the perfect size for taking notes, just having it on my lap. It had enough stability that I could write on it, and then at the end of the workshop, I just put it back in there, slide it in my bag, and be ready to go. I can't tell you, it just worked out so perfect for me. So one of them I used for taking notes, and then, as I went to the next section, I just keep using it. And then the other one, I used almost, I guess, kind of like a planner. So before I went, I had gone through the guidebook and written information for each for the restaurants that I really wanted to go to. I wrote the name of the restaurant, the amount that I might expect to spend there, which hotel it was at, what page of the guidebook, the hours that it was open, and then the kind of food that it was, so like Thai, noodles, buffet, or whatever. And then as we were going, I could kind of, instead of having to flip through the guidebook, these ones were ones I really wanted to go to. So I'd see, what hotel we were close to, how much money I had to spend, what the hours were, and clearly I didn't hit up very many restaurants, but this kind of, so I didn't just go to whatever was near me. And then I also wrote down all the different shows that were there, the times that they were, and then the hours. That way, if the ticket place had tickets, I'd know which shows I'd want to go to. I ended up not going to any shows because they were so expensive. But so that worked out really well. And then the other thing that I did that worked out really well was I kept a list for every day that I was there that said what restaurant I went to and how much it cost, other things I spent money on, and then the clubs that I went to or the restaurants or anything like that that I went to for my scrapbooking purposes, and then also for my expense report, receipts that I needed to make sure that I remembered. So like I have taxi from my hotel to the conference hotel, and then from the conference hotel back to my hotel for each day. And then, you know, if I paid for it or someone else paid for it, then I wouldn't need then I wouldn't have the receipt for it. That way I make sure that I have everything when I get back to work. So I kept that here, and then I also kept kind of a running total of my per diem, so I didn't spend crazy amounts of money. And then the other thing that worked out really well was I went through so a week before the conference, I printed out the schedule and I ranked all the briefings, and then circled the ones or squared off the ones that I was going to attend. And I printed that and I brought it along and folded it up, and I kept it in here. But this kind of organization, I kind of got lost at the conference on where I was. So on the second day, what I started doing was writing, okay, at 10 o'clock, I want to go to this session, and this is the location of the room. 11 o'clock, this section, this is the location. And some of them I thought might get crowded, so I put my second choice and the location of that room. And then this little book I just kept on top. So as I was getting done taking notes and put this one away, I'd pull out the next one and see, okay, this is the room I need to be heading to next. And usually, to be honest, by the end of the day, this book was kind of out of here and just kind of stuck in my bag, so I could pull this out real quick and see where I was going. But, I mean, the Flex is just the perfect size for me, and taking notes and all the things I needed to keep track of. It worked out perfect. And the other thing that worked out really well and was unexpected is I got to see a briefing or a speech by one of my favorite authors. I have several of his books. And I had, you know, written down what time he was going to be there and stuff, so I made sure and get there early, and I was in the second row to see his speech. And then they said that he was going to be doing a book signing, and I thought it was going to be in a different room, but it ended up being in that same room. So since I was in the second row, I just, you know, walked up to the table, and I ended up being second or third in line to get my autograph. And while everybody else was fumbling for a pen, I just, you know, quickly opened my Filofax. I had put in this Le pen, which I didn't use for taking notes. I used my ballpoint pen, but I pulled this pen out, and he wrote an autograph, and I was on my way. And meanwhile, I'm hearing other people saying, oh, do you have a Sharpie? Do you have a pen? You know, whatever. And I was ready to go, got my autograph, and walked away before anybody even, you know, knew what was going on. So anyway, if you're thinking about what to take to your conference, I really suggest this. It worked out perfect for me. I don't know, you know, how a ring binder, I don't think that it would be as, that you would be able to move things around as easily, you know, pull this out, move it around, take this, and then for me, taking notes with the rings in the way, it just doesn't work for me. But anyway, so my Moleskine Flex combination continues to work well for me. So anyway, thanks for watching. Bye.